This conference will now be recorded.
Hey, good morning, Arpita.
Good morning, Manu.
Yeah. Hope I'm audible. There is no issues like yesterday.
No, you are clear.
Okay. Okay. So let's start today's session.
Okay.
Before that, is there any questions or queries from your end, Arpita?
No, I'm fine.
Okay. Yes. Before that, yesterday I just forgot to paste it this on a chat window, which we saw the features for your just for your reference. So
Mhm.
until live connection we saw. So from X velocity to the features, I'll just copy paste to the in the chat window, and you can just have a note of it somewhere.
Okay.
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 Okay. So today's session, let's start. So it's all about from today, it will go for other few more days for about Power Query. So how do we deal with Power Query and what are transformations we have and what are transformation we perform? Let's start with that. So let me start connecting with the get data first. So let me get the data, import the data. So we'll be connecting to the same adventurous work .bak file.
Okay.
Okay. So here, let me start selecting the tables. I'll be selecting the tables where it starts from dim and fact. So this dim account, dim currency, dim customer, dim date, dim department group, dim employees, dim geography, dim organization, dim product category, subcategory, promotion, reseller, sales reason, sales territory, scenario. Okay, and from here my fact table starts. So fact, international product description, call center, currency rate, finance, internet sales reason, product inventory, reseller, then sales quota, survey response. Okay, so these are my fact table and these are my dimension table. So let me start importing the data. So I'll just go directly to the load. First, let me do load and keep it this data saved for future for future classes also.
Okay. So you are directly loading this, or it will go to the Power Query also?
This is directly loading to the file. We had two options, right? Load and transform data and cancel. Yeah. So I clicked on load. So what will happen? It will directly load to the Power BI file. If
Okay.
it is transform data, yeah, by this time the window would have been opened.
Okay.
Why I just clicked on load is like this activity will take some time, right? So I don't want to each time we cannot complete all the transform data operations today, so it will take
Okay.
some time. So just that is why let me just load the data, and whenever whatever is possible, let's start completing the transform data activities one by one, so that the data will also be there and I need not open every time and load it again and again.
Okay, but if you want to do some kind of transformation, so without so how you will do that in this case, because it is in power,
It's already
it's not.
loaded in Power BI desktop. Okay, yeah, you go ahead.
Maybe maybe yeah, I'm not okay. Let's first load it, then I'll check what
Yeah.
will happen.
No, what was your question, Arpita? So you already you meant like I already loaded into Power BI file. How do I go and do transformation for this if I wanted to do that?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll show you like how do we do it.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. It's need not that you have to select always transform data and then come back. That is a good practice. Okay, it's a good practice, and that is the way generally we follow. But it's not necessary that, or it's not. There is no option that one if you don't choose it in the initial and you cannot do it later stage. No, it's not like that. We can do it at any time. We can go back to any time for this transform data and do whatever changes you wanted also.
Okay.
Okay. In the meanwhile, like, did you try anything from your end, Arpita, like on your system? Like, did you try importing Excel files and working on it and drag
Yes,
and drop?
I didn't do that adventure works, but yeah, Excel files I have tried. I have
Okay.
tried kind of, but I have always I clicked on the transform and load that option, so
Mm-hmm.
that because I thought that what if I need to do some kind of transformation, first I need to go to the Power Query, then from there I will have to come to the this
Mm-hmm.
Power BI, but I didn't know this about this option.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so you can go because what happens is like in real time scenario, if you consider when we import it, there might be some changes coming in later stage also, right? We would be in the stage of almost development is completed or almost the development is going on. So at that scenario, also there would be few of the changes where users comes or clients will ask us to do. So if that option is not there, then it would be very difficult for us. Like again, it's like a redo a complete entire report from the start.
Mm.
So that is why that option is like definitely it is there. It's just that if we do it always from the transform data and then go back to load the file, so that's it's a better way of following. It's a best method of doing it. So that is the one thing. Okay, so now we can see we have all the data which is imported to my file now. So now, for example, as you said, now I have to do some changes. So there is two options. You can just you can go either click on this transform data options where you're seeing under the home menu. You can click on transform data here, or you can also, for example, if you wanted to go by a table wise, okay, so we have dim customer table here. So just click on this dots. You will have an option called edit query. Okay, so you can just click on edit query. So if you wanted by each column, by each table wise, just click three dots, the ellipse option, then choose edit query, or you can just directly click from the home menu, that is transform data. Okay, so
Mhm.
once it is clicked, you can see it is getting loaded. Okay, here my
So it
entire Power
loaded,
Query.
but you clicked on only one table, right?
Yes. I clicked on customer, dim customer. So that is why my dim customer is highlighted. Okay.
But
Suppose if
how
I
come?
don't,
But how all these tables came here?
yeah. So Power Query is a window, or Power Query is a separate window which will have entire tables. But with this, what it doesn't mean is it's just highlight and show the dim customer is where you have clicked and this is the data. Okay. But if I click directly on transform data, what will happen? It will defaultly select the dim account as the first table. That's all. So it will navigate either way, it will navigate to you the Power Query editor only.
Okay, then I have one question. Like when, suppose I have one Excel and
Mm,
I'm directly uploading the Excel from Power BI desktop.
mm,
Okay, instead of transform and load, I have just clicked on load. So when
mm.
when I have clicked on load, then it will be there in the Power BI desktop as well as it will be there in the Power Query also. It will be loaded.
Yes, yes, it will be there. It's
Oh,
just
okay.
not that, yeah, it's just not that it will be on the Power BI desktop alone. It will be on Power Query editor also. But whatever transformations we apply, it will then we have to save it here. Then only it will apply to the Power BI desktop. So it will
Mm,
definitely be there. It's like a copy of tables, this which these are the tables you have imported, and in these tables, what you wanted to do, what transformation you wanted to do. So it's giving a platform for us.
okay, got it.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, yes. So this is how you can navigate to the Power
Mm,
Query editor. So either you can click on transform data, or you can go and just click on any of the table, right click, I mean, click on the ellipse and choose edit query option, and you will have this Power Query window, a Power Query window or Power Query editor popping up. So here
mhm,
we have come to the Power Query editor where we perform all kind of data transformations, and you would have heard about hem language. How do we write hem language? What is hem language? Where does it? Where is that editor? So all this options comes here. Okay, so before going to each and every options, let's go through about like a few of the ribbons. What does it do? Few of the options. What does it do, and how it is used. So for example, if you see, we have imported almost like 26 tables in the Power Query Power BI file. You can see all this 26 tables which we have imported. Similarly, if you see, all this 26 tables has been named as queries. Okay, in Power
mm,
Query it is not called tables, so all this it's called as combination of queries. So if you see here, it says that queries, and it gives
okay.
that number. That is number is nothing but total 26 tables we have imported. So it says queries. Okay, and towards your right side, if you see, you have query settings. So query settings is nothing but it will have the complete details. Like for example, I've selected dim customer now. So for it gives me properties of name. So this says the table name is dim customer. Suppose if I wanted to change this name, I can just rename it here. Okay, I can
Mm,
just rename it here. Then I have all properties option. So all properties is nothing but it gives me the properties. You can see it gives me the properties, and it gives me like enable load to report, include in refresh. These concepts I'll come back. We
mm,
have this is like kind of huge, like kind of advanced concept. We will come back, and we will check where in which scenario it will be used. But yeah, this gives us a property for each table. Okay, and next we have this applied steps. So this applied steps where we like saw in the previous sessions. I mean, one of the Excel file when we imported, we saw like how it got changed when we started
mm,
renaming it, yeah, and when we started changing the data type, how it got recorded. So applied steps is nothing but whatever transformation we do it on the Power Query, right? Each transformation will be recorded or documented, or it will be adding on in applied steps. So that which makes sure that these are the transformation you have applied for this query or for this table. So, and each apply steps is dependent on in each table. So for if you go for dim currency, there is a separate applied steps for that. And if you go for the dim date, there is a separate applied steps which will be coming on. So each steps are different, applied steps are different, and applied steps can be edited, can be removed, and also can be keep on adding. So these are the kind of steps. It says that at each stage what we have done, and what it has, what the results has come. So why this applied steps is there, it's like it's kind of history. It shows kind of history. For example, now you would have performed this report, you would have in real case scenario I'm talking, where it gets this use case. So suppose you would have developed this report, and you would have published, and you would have given to the users, and users would have started using, client would have started using, and maybe you would project is completed now, and this project will go for support for the next phase. So then you will be moving out of the project. Okay, you will not be available anymore for this project. So in that case, suppose in any error comes in future, or if there is any issues, or if there is any changes to be done for this report, so at that time what will happen, the present, whoever is the present Power BI developer at that time, or the support engineer who is there at that time, he can download this PBX file where you have published it, right? So he can download it, and he can come and go through the steps. He can go so okay, she has done this one, so she has done this transformation, why she has done. So each step by step he can go through, and he can understand. So even if we suppose, even if we go into projects also, there are scenarios like for example, they say that my report is not working, I don't know what's happening on this column. I told yesterday, we saw that yesterday or day before yesterday, we saw this column name mismatch error, key did not find error, all those stuff, right? We saw those kind of errors. So at those errors and all, we will be dealing with applied steps. So we will be checking each step by step. We will be clicking on each of the navigations, and we will be checking each steps, and we will be checking on how the data was before, and after applying the transforming operations, what happened, what actually happened, and how the data reacted. So where we should go and connect it, or where we should go and correct the data, or where we should go and insert something or delete something. So all this will be documented under the apply steps. So this applied steps concept is very important in terms of those use cases. Okay, so this is about the apply steps. And coming to yeah, and also if you see that apply steps, it's just not about whatever we apply here, it will be it will be showing it, or the steps will be recorded here. But also if you see what was the first step we did when I just opened the Power BI desktop, and what I did is like, what did I do? I didn't do any operations, right? I didn't perform any transform data or anything. What I did, I just loaded the data, correct? So if you see here, that loaded data is nothing but source. Okay, it says that I have connected to the source. So what source I have connected? My SQL databases. Okay, this is my source, and I have connected to the SQL databases, and it says that this is my source. I have connected to this name. This is my DB name. These are my table names. Okay, it says that these are my table names, and this is the database. What is the kind of the source which I have connected? That is a database, and it is a SQL database. So it gives me the details from the beginning, what I have like what when I imported the data. So this is how it starts. It always starts with the source. Then it starts with the from source. After importing the source, what and all happened. So it gives the complete picture from the source to the end of the transformation, what we will be performing on the Power Query editor. Okay, so coming to the next one. So this is okay, this is next one. This is called a formula bar. Okay, it's called a formula bar. So for each steps what we are doing, it will be recorded. So for example, now you want, you know this is just a source. So when I click on this, you know this is just a source, but you don't know which source it is. So if you expand this formula bar, you will know, okay, this is a SQL. You can see that it is a SQL database. So when I click on navigation next step, so what happened, it will say me that, okay, it is the connecting to the adventurous work schema is DBO, and the item is dim customer, because by dim customer we have selected dim customer here. So it says, okay, this is a dim customer. Okay, we can figure it out. Okay, this is the my source, and this is my schema, this is my database name, and this is my table name. Okay, item is nothing but it's a table name. So this is how we can at least we will have an idea. If someone asks, do you know what is the you know this is the table, from this table we have an error or we have something, so you have to inform to the backend people to correct it. So you have to, they might ask from which database it's coming, from which what is the schema it is using. So if you just go to source and navigation, you will have this kind of information and handy, and you can just give it to them. So that is all about the applied steps and how it works. Okay, and next one is yeah, this is queries. Each table is called queries, and we have the form query settings for each tables again, and we have the applied steps for each operations we perform. It will be recorded or it will be documented. And similar way, we have the something called formula bar, like if you would have seen this formula bar similarly in Excel also. So where we do the like operations like addition or subtraction or sum of it, then each so formula bar we will go and enter it under the formula bar using equals. Similar way, we have this formula like here also in Power Query Editor, where we have is like with equals it start all the, like all the transformation steps will be recorded, and we can see the under the formula bar. Okay,
Okay.
so coming to the menus. So let's start with the menus. In here, coming to the menu, what we have is, so if you see here, we have close and apply. Okay, so what is close and apply? Close and apply in the sense, and you have options also. So any menu, if you just see, it is indicated with downward triangle, with a black downward triangle. That means it has multiple options. It's just not one single, it has multiple options. So you can just click over it on it, and you can just click on it. So if you click on this like on this downwards arrow mark, you have three options here: close and apply, apply and close. So what happens when you click on each options? So suppose if you click on close and apply, the transformation what you have performed for each table, right? What will do? It will close this Power Query editor. Okay, it will close the Power Query editor and will apply on the Power BI file. Okay, so let me show that. For example, now I have this table dim customer. Okay, so in dim customer, let me do one renaming kind of something like that. So, and this is clear, right? So this table what you're seeing is each table, these things are called column headers or column names, and these are the rows. You have rows. So if you see here, it says that for this dim customer, I have selected dim customer. In the below, right, you can see 32 columns. So in this table, currently I have 32 columns, and it always shows only 1,000 records. That's all. Okay. Column profiling is based on top 1,000 rows. What you're seeing is, so you will never see on query editor the data more than 99 rows. Okay. It is always 99 plus rows. So that is, you can see the below small piece of information which is displaying below. Okay, now let me do some transformation and show how does close and apply and close works. Okay, so we have a customer key. What I will do, I'll just rename that into customer space key. Okay, just you can see I have renamed into customer space key. You can see a step got added under the applied steps. Okay, and I have customer alternate key. Okay, instead of customer alternate key, what I will do with it, I'll just make it as customer customer key. I'll just remove alternate. Okay, okay, customer's key is already there. I'll just make it as key.
Okay.
Okay, it's just for a example I'm showing it. So we have this. So we have customer key and customer like customer key, and we have alternate key which got renamed it. Now we have title. Okay, I'll just remove this title. How will I remove? Just I'll click on this and I'll directly click on remove. Okay, so I have performed few of the operations. What I have performed, I have performed few of the rename columns, and I performed few of the removed. One of the column has been removed. Okay, so this column has been removed. Now if I click on close and apply, what will happen? So before that, let's confirm if the data is in the same way what we saw. So this is the dim customer, right? I'm just expanding dim customer. Okay, I'm expanding the dim customer. Here we had customer all key. So if you see, there is no space here. It's with a complete customer key. So this has to change for us once it is loaded. An alternative key has to be loaded. And we had title. Okay, so title, yes, we had title, this
Yeah.
title. So this title shouldn't be there. So these are the three changes which we saw. So now what I will do it, I will just click on close and apply. So the moment I click on close and apply, you can see that my Power Query editor got closed. My Power Query editor is no more there.
Mm.
Okay, it got closed and it is loading the changes. The transformation changes, what it got recorded, it is applying on the Power BI desktop now. Okay, so let's wait.
Yeah. Continue.
Okay, yeah. So you can see now towards my right side, it got changed customer key, and one more we had was alternative key. So that we changed it into
Okay.
just key. Okay, so it is named it as just key, and we had title which shouldn't be appeared. So title has gone now. Okay, so the transformation was successful and it is appeared on the Power BI desktop. So close and apply, what does it do usually? It will close the Power Query and it will start applying directly on the Power BI file, on the Power BI desktop file. On the, okay, but what does apply and close do? Apply and close is nothing but it is individual operation performed again. So apply means it will not close the Power Query editor. It will not apply here. It will not apply here. It will be applying only on the Power Query editor for us to see whether it is like the operation what we have performed, the transform, it's whether it's implemented or not, whether it's implemented correctly or not. We can check it out on the Power Query editor here itself, but it will not apply here. Okay, so for example, let's take for the same dim customer. Okay, let's take instead of geography key, or yeah, we have this first name or middle name, correct? Let me delete this middle name. So right click remove the middle name. So I have middle name, it's not no more available now. So if I just click on apply, okay, so my dim customer will start loading. Okay, and I don't have middle name, I don't have middle name now. So if you see, before it was 32 columns, now it's 30 because one we removed, that is title, and now one more we removed, that is middle name. But if I go and see under the Power BI, okay, I still have middle name.
Yes.
Okay,
That that yellow bar is not showing apply and discard this time, right?
correct, correct. It's not showing. So that
Yeah.
because that is it is applied here. So once I close it, it will be seen on my this one. Okay, it will be seen on my Power BI file. So that is the difference. Okay. Third one, close. What does close means? Close means whatever changes I have applied here, right? It will discard. It will say that the close changes what I have applied, it is no need to do it now. For example, I have this name style now. I'll just remove this again. Okay, I'll just remove this name style and I'll close. So once I close, it will give me an pop-up options now. So you can see this pop-up option. Okay, so what does this pop-up option says? There are pending changes in your queries that haven't been applied. So you can see I have done the changes. I have done some transform changes, but I have not applied it. Applied it where? On the Power BI desktop, the options has been not like updated, or the options has not been applied. So it is asking me whether do you want to apply the changes, or do you want to discard changes. Okay, if I click on discard changes, so what will happen, that column as of now it is 29 year. Okay, it was 29 year. Now if I discard it, it will be like back to, see, you have changed dim customer, so it says that these are the tables you have changed. So do you want to discard? I'll just give discard. Okay, so what, I had deleted one of the name change type, some boolean column was there, it will be back now. So if I go to transform data again, so if I click on dim customer, so I will have the column name style. See, this name style was the one which we deleted. It is there because I discarded, I closed it. I closed and I discarded on the Power BI file.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are the three options after performing transformation. It's very important to know that how do you want to see, or how do you want it to check, do you want to discard it, or do you want to apply it directly, or do you want it to close this window and apply it. So these are the things which you will get the options. Okay, so this is all about close and apply. So now let me just go back it, let me not apply anything. Okay, so next one we have option is new source. What is new source? Okay, new source is nothing but what we saw there, get data on the Power BI file, right? Similarly, we have new source. So why it is not named as get data? Why it is named as new source? In the sense, in Power Query we already have the data. These tables or these data is named like combined together and called as queries, correct? So
Mhm.
apart from this, do you want to add any other source, is called as new source. Okay, this is already there. Apart from this, do you want to add any extra table? Do you want to import any extra data from any other source, or do you want to import any query? So that is why this option is named as new source. Okay, so apart from this, do you want to import any other new source for this current file? So that is why it is named as new source. Okay, now if I click on it, say same thing, I have same like get data. When I click, how different multiple connectors options I have, similar connector options I have here also. I can just select it and I can import it again. Okay, so that is
Mhm.
about the new source. Then
Similar
next
to
comes
get, right?
sorry, Arpita.
Similar to get data, right?
Yeah, similar to get, it is actually a get data, but just the naming conversion is
Maybe,
different.
yeah, yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So next we have is recent sources. Recent sources is nothing but you could see that recent means like even when you're accessing on any laptops also, you will get that recent file accessed or recent files opened. So you will see these options, right? Similarly, recent sources means what are the sources I have connected in recently using my Power BI desktop file.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you can see from initially we started connecting. So all my recent sources will be like Superstore or the local SQL database when I'm connecting to the Adventurous, and when I'm
Mhm.
using the username. These are the last sources which I have used it. So these are my recent source, and it will have like top like last recent 10 searches or 15 searches, and it will go away. So it keeps changing. If I hope
Mhm.
keep on opening, it keeps changing. So this is the recent sources. Okay, next option what we have is enter data. So this enter data is nothing but where you will create a manual table, where you will create a manual table with deciding the number of columns, number of rows, and you will use it in the Power Query transform editors. Okay, so there is a scenario where this is very useful in the sense, this manual table or this enter data option, where we have used in many use cases. So that will be, I'll be teaching when there is an advanced concepts coming in the next coming classes, where how do we create it, and like how do we create the table from enter data, and how do we use it. But this is an again a very important concept, and most probably it will be used on even in the composite models. So if you open the composite models, there also this concept will be widely used, the manual data or enter data. Okay, so this how do you enter this is like default, you have one column, you can just enter it the what rows you want under this column. So you can just name this column as name, I can just name it as this. I wanted this name, and you can just enter some names. If you keep on going, the names like the rows will be keep on generating. And if you click on the towards your right side on the column headers, next to next, you will click it. You'll have the columns. Okay, and you can rename the table. So what you wanted to name this table as, you can rename it and just click OK, and you will find under the query section towards your left side, it will be named. Okay, so this is about the enter data. Enter data, it's like something where you will be entering the manual data. Okay, and one of the examples I'll give, for example, like you will have like maybe you will have one of the data where it is stored on the Excel file. Okay, and it is static. That data is been stored. It you'll be connecting to one of the Excel file where you will have the details. For example, this is my organization, and I have in this organization, I have like 10 departments. Maybe finance department is one, marketing department is one, IT delivery in department one, and you'll have the HR and operations department. So these are the departments you will have. So in that is a static information, right? Usually it will not change very easily. Like it is like a kind of a long term changeability for those examples. So instead of importing an Excel file just to import like 2 or 3 columns, instead of connecting to an Excel file and using it in Power BI, what we do is like we just copy those data. We can just copy that data also. For example, let me show. We had one of the sample example, right? Let's open that. That's okay. I don't know where that is stored. Um,
We can copy from Excel
yes,
from.
we can copy. That is what I was trying to say. Yeah, we have the sample. Let me open which sample it is. Okay, we have the sample which we used it in a few days back. Okay, so I'll just copy this. Okay, see, you can. I'm just copying it, student, the complete entire table. Okay, and I'm just clicking on column here, and I'm pasting it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it's
Oh,
no need that you have to type it, or it's just typing. You can copy paste. Okay, so I have copy pasted and I have this data now. So this data is static, it will not change for me. Let's consider in that way. Let's assume that this data is static and it will not change. So what is the use? The question might arise, same data you have connecting to the Excel and same data you're using it here, why do you have to create it here? You can just leave it in the same way in the Excel. Why? In the sense, one example would be like, see, the Excel file, we will be connecting to any of the local folder. For example, now it's on my local folder, it's on my C drive or on my desktop file. So I'll be connecting to this way, and it will show me that this is your file path. So when I publish this data, right, this date, suppose this Excel file or this one, if I remove this Excel file from that location, I'll be like thinking like, okay, why should I keep this Excel file? It is no use for me. It's all, and there is also a time period. Is like IT department would have been asked me like clean up your files, remove your unused files, all the stuff. So I will delete it by chance. I will not know. Like I'll just delete it by myself. So I'll delete it after some time, but I will not be realizing that this Excel file has been used in the Power BI report. I have to keep it in the same location. I will not be realizing that. So what happens at the time of when we are refreshing, it says that your file is not available there. Your data source is not available there. Okay. So instead of that, otherwise what I have to do, I have to place that Excel file into one of the OneDrive or a SharePoint folder. I have to create one folder and I have to put my Excel file there, and I have to connect it. So every time when if there is any refresh, what will happen, that file, it will go to the SharePoint folder, and it will get the refresh data and come back. Okay, so instead of that, why should I do it so much procedure, like it has to go back? It is just a manual table, and it will not be changing in very soon. So very rare cases it will be changing. Once if it is changes also, I can do it directly on the Power BI. So in that scenario, we will be creating here directly, and we will be using it. So if there is any changes in future also, I can come back and do it here itself. Okay, so my source is in the Power BI file itself. Clear?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so that is all about the enter data. So going to the next one, data source settings. What is data source settings? So data source is nothing, settings is nothing but what kind of data you have imported in this file. Okay, what is the data source? What is the permission level you have used to import this file? Okay, what is the server name? So all this detail will be in the data source settings, and it is one of the important concept, because if suppose if you wanted to change the source, suppose if you wanted to change the server name in future, so all this changes you will be doing it in the data source settings. But usually what happens, you will do these changes under the data source in the current file, but when you click on global permissions, you can see I have many other sources. Just you would be worrying, like seeing in this data, in this file I have only one adventure works data warehouse 2019, but in my global permission I have other some data sources where I have not used also, I am not demonstrate for you also. So that is global permission. Global means it's just not for only this file, the entire Power BI desktop from the beginning, like when I started working on it, what kind of data source I have been connected. Okay, so this will be the global permissions. So this global permissions, what happens, I can delete it, this global permission. It's not that I cannot delete it. For example, I'm just clicking on it. Okay, I can just right click here and clear permission. Okay, so once if I clear permission, what will happen, this will it will say, are you sure you want to clear permission for this entry? That means, what is permission means, for example, for each data source when we are connecting, there will be its own authentication method, correct? So for example, I have adventures works 20 data warehouse 2019 now. So I'll click here. If I wanted to, how do I wanted to change the source? First of all, let's go through that steps. If I wanted to change the source, now I have two options. Either I right click here and click on change option. You can see the same options we have it here: change source, edit permission, clear permission, copy path to clipboard. Okay, all these options we have. So either I can click here or I just select it and click below. So I'll click on change source now. So once I click on change source, what will happen? I have the server name here. Okay, it says this is my server name, and it says this is my database. Okay, and this is my advanced options. So when do we choose this, or when do we usually change this database name? So for example, now you consider you're building a report, you're developing a report, and it is connected to the development database. It's connecting to the development server. It is connecting to the development database. Usually what will happen, database names will be same, okay, but server names will differ. We will be changing the server names here. Okay, why database names will be same as like, because the same copy see, when you're building on the data warehouse concepts also, it will be like development environment, QA environment for testing, development is for development, QA environment, and final product, once all the testing will be done, it will be moved to the production environment. So that is how the flow. Okay, similar way, we if the column names are changed, if the database names are changed, if the table names are changed, it's like a rework for us in order to develop the reports. So each if the column names are changed, or if the table names are changed, whenever we pass on, like whenever we move it into QA environment, then we start refreshing the report, it will give us a column, it will give us an error throwing out this column is not existing, this key rows is not matching. So it's again we have to sit and do all this transformation, or we have to fix all those bugs. It's completely a rewrite for us, right? So what
Right.
is the no, like a process which we follow is like, schema should be same, no column names should be changed when compared to development environment, QA environment, and production environment. So only the server names will be changed. So usually what they also do is like, they take a backup of the same database files, and they and whatever the database queries they have, they just run it in the production environment and QA environment, and they give us the server name. So at that time, so consider like we have finished the development, and we have finished all the report building everything, and we would be publishing to the user goes check and do check all the whatever they wanted, the requirement they will check, and they'll give a provide a sign off. Once the sign off is provided, we will be moving into production, right? At that time, we will not be building again from first or from the scratch. So what we will do, we will just click on the come back to the report, come back to the file. We will just click on the change data source instead of server, like whatever the development server if we are using, instead of development server we will be using, we will be copy pasting the production server and give okay. Okay, so that is where the scenarios will be. That is one of the scenario what I said, like where we will be using the change data source and those options. Okay, so that is one of the scenario. So we will be changing it, and so once it changed, right, it will start loading. So it says that my data server is new, and it starts loading, and it will check whether all the queries is correct, all the table names is correct, and it will start refreshing. If there is any error, it will show you a triangle or a warning symbol or a yellow symbol saying that this table is having error, and we can go and check the root cause why it's causing a error, and we can inform the same to the DB team saying that, see, in this table you forgot to change this in a production environment, do it. So in that way we will be communicating, and we will be closing those work. So that is very important. So this data source settings is very important. Okay, so this how we do the change source. What is edit permission now? If you come to the edit permission, so when you click on edit permission, you can see that you have a type credentials, and you have a type, and it says Windows as of now. Okay, so if I click on edit option, you can see I have three options. That is, one is Windows, the one is database, and I have Microsoft account. Okay, I have three different options. So this is nothing but authentication type. So what kind of authentication type are you using when you're connecting to the data sources? So that is what it says. So now I'm using Windows because my server and my database is both is on my local desktop, and my local desktop is synced with my Windows name. So that is why I'm just giving the Windows. Okay, well, sometimes in real case scenarios you will be most of the time using either database option, okay, or you might be using the Windows option, or you might be using Microsoft account. Microsoft account, when you will use it for the sources like Azure, when you're connecting to the Azure SQL server, or Azure SQL DB, or when you're connecting to the other different SharePoint sources or OneDrive sources. So which is all like Microsoft account linked, right? So it is all cloud. So when you're using the cloud sources, when you're like, which is hosted on the cloud data sources, so the data sources which is hosted on cloud, if you're using such kind of data sources, you will have this Microsoft account is nothing but it's a single sign-in options. So you know that single sign-on option is like where the window pops up, wait till take our ID completely, that Microsoft ID you can see here. I just clicked on sign in. So it is asking my like ID from the Microsoft, whether is are you connecting from the source which is connected to Windows, or you're using the another account. So I can click on the another account and pass my other ID and password in that way. Okay, so this Microsoft account is usually contains the single sign-in options. So you will be using that authentication type. For Microsoft authentication type is like for the data sources which is hosted on the cloud most of the cases. So database is nothing but when you have there would be some username and password for each databases, right? So when the data warehouse is built, for then they'll give they in their security or in their access roles, they'll provide access to each of the users, and they'll give a permission, whether it is a read only permission or read and write only permission for that particular database. For reporting purpose, we don't need read and write because we are not changing anything with respect. We do not need write permission. We just need read permission, because we are not going and changing anything with the data warehouse concepts. We are not doing it anything changes any in terms of data warehouse, because it is nowhere. We are just trying to connect the data and we are importing it, right? We are importing on the file, and whatever the changes we are doing, it is on the file, on our file which we are working, and it is on our desktop. It's not anywhere related, or whatever changes we do it here, it will not reflect at all. Either it might be import mode, either it might be direct query, or either it might be live connection. It is nowhere affecting the source. Whatever changes we apply it on the Power BI desktop or on the Power Query editor, it will not affect the source. Okay, so at that time they'll that is why read permission is enough for us. So once the read permission is given, so they will be what they'll do usually, like how what they do for the development and all, they'll maintain a concept of service accounts. Service account, in the sense why they do maintain is, I'll tell you. So they have a concept of service account, and for each service account it's have its own password. For example, why they prefer to use its service account, suppose if they give access to ourselves, for example, instead of service account, they say that I have provided access to your email id, go and check, they will do it, they say. So when we use those service account, and when we try to connect, right, and when we publish this, suppose in future if there is any changes has to be happen, like I, as I said, I'm no more available in this project. So in future someone has to come and they will open this dashboard, and when they were looking it, and when they start performing some changes, it will throw
Mm.
you error saying that go and login is not there, go and login or apply the edit credential method. So it will say that connect this window will be keep on popping up saying that password, this enter the password. So you will definitely not know my password what I have used, correct? It is my password what I have used, or it's my Windows authentication. So at that time what it is it is kind of a stop for him. It is kind of he has to wait, like it will become delay for him, because he has to again get in touch with the data warehouse team and ask him request access for himself, and say that for this db I'm working on this database, I mean I'm connecting to this database for my one of my report, and I have to do some operations, or I have to do some changes, can you please provide the access? So he has to request in that way. And trust me, this changes, for this changes or for this access approval, it will go almost like 3 days to complete week. Okay, so it will kind of this is for me it's kind of a deal breaker, because I will not be able to work also, and it is something is stopping there. So instead of that, what they do is like they will provide, so in order to avoid these case, or in order to avoid this kind of situations, so what they will do is like they will provide a service account, where they will have the service account and password stored on the password vaults. Many organization will have this password vaults like Thycotic or Azure password vault, or KeePass, all this kind of password vaults will be there for each organization. So there this service name and the service username and password would be stored. So they can just go, they will have access to the entire vault. They can just go search and get the password and use it on the database options. So they can just have the username and they can just have the password and they can try using it. So once then the report also will be like there is no any stop point for them in order to move forward for the in terms of development, and they can deliver on time. So that is one of the user where that is the one of the reason why this database concepts has been introduced. So any doubts with this authentication type?
Yeah. So, suppose someone who has started from scratch, like you have started with get the data from get data, and there you have provided your database name, and you have loaded all the data in your Power BI desktop. So that
Mm.
time, this we don't need to bother about these things. But if someone comes in middle or in between, who does not have any permission, so that time only it will be this edit permission scenario will come into picture.
Yes, yes, you're right.
Okay. So in that case, tell me one thing. Suppose you have started this project, and now I came in between. So for you, how this permission was means worked, means you didn't do anything, and when you started you didn't do anything with this edit permission. So how that time it was taken care?
No. The thing is, I also did. So initially, if you would have seen that when I connected to the data source, right, it asked me whether do you which kind of data, I mean, which data, I mean, which kind of authentication type you have to use. So I clicked on Windows and I gave save. So this option is being saved now. So what this global permission, this is where this global permission will come into picture. So for these kind of data sources, my authentication permission is already there. Okay, so let me show that. For example, now I'm connecting to this data source, right? I'm using this server now, correct? I will clear my permission now. Okay, I'll clear my permission. Now my permission is no more existing. So if I go back now, okay, if I'm trying to import from the same table, from the same source, let me try to import it. I'll just click on SQL Server. Okay, I'll just use dot the same server. See, because I cleared it, right? I cleared it. So it says that my permission is clear. It's not there. Now I have to authenticate back. I have to authenticate back saying that which is my permission level in order to connect, which type of authentication type I have to use it, and I have to authenticate. Since I already, this option came up at the very beginning when I was giving a demo. So I choose this Windows and I gave a connect option. So this file Power BI got to know that, okay, for this database, she has choose Windows and it is cross-checked. So every time when I give connect, it will cross-check whether my Windows name and my this name is and my Windows connection name and my database name is it same on the same server, and whether it is indicating. So that at the background that the test has been passed already. So that is why it doesn't keep on asking again and again until I remove the permission from the global permissions.
Oh, okay, okay, got it. I realize now. And
Yeah,
the thing that you talked about, that the service account, that the password, from where we will get that password?
that will be given by the database, each database or the whatever the data source will be there. No, for that database admins who will be looking after, they will be providing us. We need not
So
worry.
for the service account also, right?
Yes, yes, they were the
Okay,
one, they have to give us. So it's
okay,
not, we will not be creating anything. They will give us and we will be using according to that.
yeah, okay, yeah, got it.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll just connect it back now. So what happens now is, like, for example, the same file. Now I have used my Windows. See, the error started because I
Yeah.
didn't authenticate yet. So it says that this is how it comes. So it says that you're not authenticated. So this table you'll not be access. You'll not be able to access. It's a security, right? So it says that, okay, maybe the user is someone different is trying to access the information. So first authenticate, then I'll show you the information or data. It is meant in that way. Okay, so similar way, like why it gives error is like it says that I will be using this file. I will be giving the file, I'll be giving to you. I'll say that Arpita, do this changes and send it to me, or you only publish it. So when you try to use it, since I've used as a Windows authentication type, and my this type is already saved, this connection type is already saved under the global permission. So when
Mm,
it start in like authenticating, yeah, my I have used here is Windows, that is which is my connection, but you
mm,
have used this like your connection. If you also have access to this database by using Windows, it will definitely open and it will show you. But this database is stored on my database and I have not given you any access, right? So it says that
mm.
you do not have permission, or it says that you username or account name is password, or authentication didn't happen. So that kind of errors will start coming in. Okay,
Okay,
so that is where the database concepts came in. So if you have this database username and password is there, then you can just directly go and choose database username and password and you can enter it out here. Okay, so that
okay,
is how it comes. So now yeah, I have to re-enter it again.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, so it started coming in. So you see that all my data, I gave the Windows authentication. Now it got authenticated that I am the same user, and you can see all towards my left side, all the tables, instead of error, it got turned and it's showing the data now. Okay, so this is how the edit source data and the this one works.
okay,
Sorry, excuse me. Okay, so that is about the data source settings. So next what we have is manage parameters. So manage parameters, this also I'll teach you in the coming scenarios, coming sessions. We are like let's not go and dig deep into it now because it is a huge concept again. So we have a scenarios for this also. Let's go with that. Like manage parameters, how do we create parameters and manage or new. So it's one of the very important concepts. So let's see it in coming classes. Okay, next we have is a refresh preview. Refresh preview is nothing but it's just a refresh. So you have done some changes to this and you wanted to see whether the data is refreshed or not. So you can just click on the refresh preview and you have the refresh preview and refresh all options. So refresh preview is nothing but it's just refresh for the dim customer. Refresh all means all the entire 26 table would be refreshing. Okay,
Mm.
so that is about the refresh concept. So properties nothing but which we saw here, properties, right? So same properties is their option, we have it here also. And next was advanced editor. What is advanced editor? So you see I opened advanced editor and I can see some code here. What is this code? Any idea what is this codes or what is this line says?
Is this that is called M language?
Yes, absolutely correct. So this is called M language. Okay. So what does M language do? So this M language is whatever you do the operations, like whatever operations you perform or whatever transformations you perform in the Power Query editor, all these transformations you see towards the right, it will be like applied towards as a steps, but
Yes.
all this will be at the back end recorded as a M language. So this is the M language. This is the it is also called M query, Power Query, M language, where it is stored on the Power Query editor. Okay, so this is a very important. This is yeah, this M language is very important. So they might ask what language does Power BI use. So you can say it is M language. So this is what the M language. I'll just put it under the notes. So M language
Okay.
used in Power Query editor or Power BI. So where do you find it? You find it under the option advanced editor.
Okay.
Okay, and advanced, under the advanced editor menu, you find this M language. So this is what the M language is, and you can you can see. So for example, I have now okay, let me do some transformations again. Just let me rename this customer key, or let me take instead of key, let me rename it as ID. It's easy for us to check. And let me remove this column. Okay, yeah. So now I see that the steps got added. Now if I go advanced editor, you can see before there was like only three lines, right? Now I have the other two more lines added here because I did some changes. So whatever changes I perform, this will be indicated, or this will be simultaneously affected the M language also. So now it says that this is my advanced editor, and this is a separate editor again, which opens when I click on M query. Sorry, when I click on the M advanced editor option, my M query languages will be shown, and this is the syntax. So it start always with the syntax says let, with the keyword let, and from let means it's allowing the data source to connect let. So from
Okay.
let, so it starts with source. It's, you can see what is our source. It's a SQL database, is correct. This is my SQL database. So it says that source, this is my SQL data, it's connecting to these SQL databases, and it is connect, my server name is this. So in other cases my server name would be different. In the different is like maybe that say dot dot adventure or something, it would be different. So the server names it shows in this way, and it says this is my database. I have connected to the AdventureWorks database, and this is my source. See, you can see that this is my source, Adventurous Word 2099, and this is the data. And next, what I have done, I have connected to the table dim customer. So it says that my schema is DBO, and I have connected to the dim customer, and I have showing the data. Next, what operation I did here? So just until here we connected and we navigated. Then after that, what we did that renamed column. So you can see my rename column, my table got table dot rename column is again keywords or a syntax where it says that table dot rename column, it which table got renamed, that is dim customer, it got renamed. And what column got renamed? Custom before my column was customer key, and after renaming my column, I got displayed with customer space ID. This is my before, and after renaming, this is my after name. After column rename, this is my after changes, and this is my before changes.
Okay.
Okay, and similarly removed columns, I removed one of the column. What column I removed? So this is my removed column. Okay, and I have renamed like which column I have removed. So you can see that title is the
Yeah.
column which I have removed. Okay, and at the end which you wanted to show, like what is the result? This in is nothing but what is the total you have to show at the end, like the end of the results. It's a keyword for the end of the results. At the end I'm showing removed columns. Why I'm showing a removed columns? Because I wanted to show all this transformation steps which is there. So I wanted to see all the transformation data also has to be applied, and I have to see the end result. So that's why I'm using the word called removed columns. What happens if I use rename columns? So if I use rename columns, this step will not be shown at all. So the title will be there. So for example, now let me just copy rename column, and instead of remove columns, let me paste it here and give done. Okay,
Yeah.
so you can see I have my title still, because in my advanced editor I'm not I'm asking my advanced editor to just show me the previous below. Okay,
Mm.
so now if I give on remove columns instead of rename columns, okay, I'm passing this one. So you can see that the title is removed now.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is how you do the changes. You can directly go and change it in dim customer. If you know mQuery, if you wanted to practice mQuery, instead of applying the changes on the Power Query editor, like removing all those operations also, if you wanted to practice language well, and if you wanted to know the syntax and all, you can directly go ahead and do it on the mQuery also. So that is also you can keep up the practice. So suppose now you can see that I have this option. Now instead of customer ID, I want it instead of customer ID, let me take it as customer key ID, something like that. Okay, I'm just editing here itself. I'm just giving as customer key ID. Okay, there is something wrong with my keyboard. Customer key ID. Okay, I'm just giving a customer key ID, and I'm just giving done. Okay,
Yeah.
you can see it, the first column got reflected. Okay, so you can edit either in advanced editor. Anytime you can just go click on the advanced editor and do the editing options, or you can just come back to the applied steps and do it here also. So this is about the advanced editor options. Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Just one question. So, in real world, means in the organization, do we need to write this inquiry, because all this is being taken care by just the transformation, like we are getting the option from there, we can do. But do we need to write inquiry in real world?
Yeah, it's not like no, you did not need to write mQuery from the scratch, okay? But you would at least know the syntax. Like now, how like I just showed you, this is the syntax, this is the starting, and what does each step mean? You should know this understanding level, because you would need not write it from the scratch, but you need to edit it at some point. Okay, you need to do updates sometimes. So yesterday we saw few of the like in Excel we saw two of the error. One is key rows did not match, and one more we saw that column is not available. So in that case, where you will fix that problem is in this M query. Okay, you will be coming back to this Power Queries and Power Query Transform Editor. You will be opening this advanced editor, and you will be doing changes. For example, this is the source, right? So here is where the first source, it says that the key value did not match, the table value did not match. So at that means you have to do the source, the changes is here. The in within this double quotes, here is the where you have to do the changes. Then it says that column name is not available. So you have to rename the column, or you have to do the changes over here. Okay, so this updating you'll be doing, modifications you'll be doing. So you have to know what is this each line say, because you cannot blindly update it somewhere else also, right? It will, which will affect the other queries or other lines also, so other rows also. So you have to know the basic concepts, like what does it mean and where we have to go and edit it. So that concept, that understanding you have to know, but need not write from the beginning. Okay, it's not necessary that you have to write from the beginning, but these are the scenarios where you have to come back and edit it in that way. You should know the basic understanding.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so that is about the advanced editor, and it is following the mQuery language. So that each transformation will be converted as a mQuery language, and it will be showing or displaying under the advanced editor option. Okay, so the next one would be manage. Manage is what? Delete. Under manage, again you have option called delete, duplicate, and reference. What does the delete, duplicate, and reference do? Delete is nothing but, suppose if you wanted to delete any of the tables, okay, if you wanted to delete any of the queries under this window, so it will be deleted. For example, let me delete one of the which we will not be using it. Dim scenario. Okay, let's take survey response. Okay, so we have the survey response. So how do you delete this table if I don't want in anymore to be visible on the Power Query editor on this my file? What I'll do, I'll just click fact survey response, and I'll choose columns, sorry, I'll choose manage, and I'll just delete it. Okay, you can see it is select my, I have selected fact survey response, so it is asking, are you sure you want to delete the fact survey response? Just give delete. So my fact survey response is no more there now. It's got deleted.
Okay.
Okay, so delete is nothing but deleting the query which you wanted, if you which is no more required in your report, or which is no more required during your transformations. So that is a delete operations. So what is duplicate and reference? Any idea? It's not, definitely not same. It has some difference. So any idea on what is duplicate and what could be the reference? Duplicate is easy, like it's a same copy of it, right?
Yeah,
But
I
what?
think one of I forget. I think for one of them the applied steps will not be visible. I think for duplicate or
Yes,
ref, I
yeah,
forgot.
right. It's for reference. It's for
Okay.
reference. You will not have the applied steps. So let's see that example. So for example, if you go to the dim customer, right? So if I just click on select dim customer, and I select duplicate, so I can see that it is, I am having this dim customer of 2 because it is a copy of it. So I'm getting the naming convention as like that. So I can see entire data is copied, like we have 31 columns there because I deleted one column there, right? Some column I deleted title. So that is why I have 31 columns, and I have the entire steps applied. It's nothing but it's just the same table, and it's giving a copy of that same query or the same table for me in order to perform operations or whatever I wanted. But
Yes.
reference, what is reference? So if I click on dim customer, and if I choose manage reference, okay, so the same, it has renamed with the customer 3, but if you see towards my right side, the applied steps are not there, because it is not giving a copy, it's just referring my table. It's considering, for now, for example, for this customer 3, right, my source is not SQL at all. My source is not SQL at all. My, for if I see my dim customer, what is my source? My source is SQL, correct? So if I click
Yes.
on this, my source is SQL database. But for me, if I go to dim customer 3, my source is not SQL. What is my source? Yeah, it's just saying dim customer is my source. So if I click
Oh,
on advanced editor and see also, it says that I don't have this operations performed. It just says that my source is dim customer. So this has become my source. This entire table is only acting like a data source. I'm referring to this table. Okay, and suppose if any changes happen to this dim customer, any operations will happen, it will affect it, because this is my reference, that is my reference, right? So that is my parent table. Now it's not SQL, it doesn't bother whether SQL is having or no, it doesn't bother now. It is bothering my table as a dim customer as a source. Any operations performed will also be affected to my reference table, that is dim customer 3.
Okay, but
Okay.
why means in which scenario we need this kind of means a reference table like the same data but with no steps?
Yeah, it is there. It is just a minute. Okay. Yeah, it is like we have many options. For example, in many scenarios, for example, when we are working with the SharePoint file folders, okay, nowadays the source has been in um, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So in many situations, okay, when you're connecting to the source called SharePoint folders, this option is like
Mhm.
it's more used. This the reference tables in order to connect to the reference. For example, each time you'll get a table, you'll import the table, you'll do the transformations, everything, okay. But you have to keep on calling that reference table. I mean, not the reference table. You have to keep on calling the same operation again and again when you're importing, when you'll be splitting the data, or when you'll be converting you'll be creating a dimension table separately. You'll be creating the fact table separately out of the SharePoint folders where you are connecting. Okay. In that case, you cannot perform all the operations again and again. Instead, what you do, one table you'll take it, import it everything, and you do the operations and you save it. So next time when you're calling that table, or next time when you're calling the same operations you have to perform, instead of performing all the steps from the scratch again, you will refer this table. Say that this is my source table, and top of it, I'm performing the other operations again.
Okay, so you will be you will be performing in table A, and all the tables that referring to table A will be automatically updated with that kind of performance that we have performed in table A, right?
Sorry, I didn't get your question, Arpita.
So suppose I have a table A, and there are 2 to 3 tables like A1, A2, A3, A4, which those tables are referring to table A. Okay. So whenever I am changing something to table A, automatically that change will reflect to A1, A2, A3, A4 for that purpose, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I said. So, for example, let's take this customer now. Okay. Let me remove this column geography key. Okay. Before that, let us also go and check under dim customer 3 whether we have geography key. We have geography key, correct? So let me go and delete it now. Okay. Now let me go under dim customer 3 and see it's already deleted, because my source is dim customer, right? Whatever changes happens, the corresponding tables also will have the reference.
Got it.
Okay. Yeah. So this is all about the managed operations. What we have is delete, duplicate, and reference. Okay. So still now, any questions or queries?
No, I don't have any question. That the data source settings, I will check that by myself again. So that point, I might have some question, but that I might ask tomorrow if I have any question.
Yeah,
that
sure.
That little bit, I don't have any idea on that one. So
Okay.
I will check.
Yeah. So Rohit, I heard that there is a echo. I know there is some problem. I don't know what's happening. I'm just connecting to the audio also. Previously you were not having this issue, right? Okay. So Rohit, do you get a chance to go through the previous class demo sessions or the previous introduction sessions, and do you have any queries on that? Okay. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, you can just go through Rohit. You can just go through the class, the previous classes, and get the idea about it. And you can ask it, ask me anytime if you didn't understand any concepts. So that for Arpit also, it will be like kind of a kind of brush up topics when you have they go through those topics. Okay, and yeah. So if anything is there, or if you do not understand, you can also stop us in between, and you can raise your questions so that I'll try my best to make you understand, and we'll go ahead. So it shouldn't be like just a classroom kind, like where I'll just keep on going and you guys will not understand. So yeah, you can just stop me anywhere. And yeah, so that's it for today. So let's see the rest of the operations. We have finished till manage, and we have the other next towards the right options, so where we have choose columns, remove columns, all those stuff. Let's see that in tomorrow's session. Um, okay, guys. Is there any other questions?
No, thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.